One of the beasts of the East meets one of the surging teams in the West as the Tampa Bay Rowdies visit the Oakland Roots from Pioneer Stadium in Hayward, California. Happy to have you with us for this one on ESPN Plus alongside Marion Crowder. I'm Joe Malfa. Look at the standings in the Western Conference for the Roots. Puts them right around that playoff line. They're there because they've won 2 of the last 3 and they're trending in the right direction.
Yeah, right now they're coming off a 1-0 loss to a red-hot Colorado Springs side who has 5 straight wins. But Joe, the Roots within a match of being right in the middle of playoff contention, and what a confidence boost this would be for the boys should they get a result tonight. It's been over a month now since Gavin Glinton has taken over as the interim head coach, and they had their best spell of play these last few matches, starting with that win against Orange County. Yeah, their recent form has been improving game in, game out. They've done a sound job defensively of limiting some big-name players in their last 3 matches, and in the attack, their expected goals is increasing. Numbers in the attack increasing, but they're lacking that end result. But guess what? They get Johnny Rodriguez back, the club's leading goal scorer, and he can play back to goal. He can also threaten in behind with his ability to play on the back shoulder of the center backs, which could be key against this Rowdy squad. They missed having him 100% healthy. He went down early in that Orange County game, but he's back. He's healthy. He's in the starting lineup as they try to tackle this Tampa Bay side, who are sitting in a good position right now in the Eastern Conference. They had a little stretch when they lost back-to-back games. They've responded from that with 3 straight wins, and they are right there in the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference. Yeah, they found their footing. They found their consistency, and with 1 less match played than Indy 11, it's probably more accurate to state that they're a top 3 team within the Eastern Conference. But Joe, they're on a tough stretch of road matches, starting with this pair in California. They handed Sac Republic their first loss of the season last weekend, and Charlie Dennis, the man getting it done. They had those back-to-back losses. They were wake-up calls in that little stretch there against Memphis on the road, where they had a man down. But Cal Jennings and this group have really responded well and gotten them in this good way. Yeah, we mentioned Charlie Dennis. He's the guy that can bring some link-up play to this Tampa Bay side. He can drop into a deeper position. What that does is it allows for Jennings to do what he can do best, and that is use his explosive speed and pose as more of the vertical threat for the Rowdies. The Rowdies had some fun in the Bay Area last week with the win over Sacramento. They spent the whole week here instead of traveling back east. We'll see if that pays dividends. Looking for back-to-back wins in the Bay Area. Roots trying to get back on track after last week's loss against Colorado Springs. It's the Roots and the Rowdies next from Hayward, California.
The only way to win is to do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots have teamed up. We are leading the charge to address food insecurity, empowering all athletes to improve physical health, and expanding the health and wellness resources available to the residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
Do you like getting cash back on your credit card? A free coffee when you fill your cafe's punch card? A complimentary dessert with your restaurant order? Then you'll like getting a 5% discount on your electricity with Ava Community Energy's Bright Choice service. Visit avaenergy.org to learn more about Ava's low rates for electricity.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. This isn't a hobby, it's a lifestyle. You find diamonds in the rust to put your own stamp on stock parts, turning metal into murals and detailing every detail. Because it's the things you make that show what you're made of. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
Tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross and Modelo. Take a look at the starting lineups tonight for both sides, beginning with the Oakland Roots and Gavin Glinton. It's a familiar setup, but Johnny Rodriguez, getting him back into the lineup, that's going to be key. Trayvon Reed had such a great outing his last 2 matches. Let's see if he can continue with some success. On the flip side for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, a couple of changes from the lineup that won against Sacramento last week. Yeah, Arteaga back into the lineup. Charlie Dennis is going to stick to be the target forward, and Cal Jennings, we talked about him. Kleeman, number 19, he's going to come in for Blake Bodley. Tampa Bay Rowdies, winners of 3 in a row. Oakland, winners of 2 of the last 3. The big thing to note, though, there from the starting lineup for the Oakland Roots is no Paul Blanchette All-league goalkeeper from last year. It's Timothy Sorrell in once again. His second start of the season. Paul Blanchette picked up a concussion in training this week. So Sorrell, again, his second start of the year. His first was that 2-2 draw against San Antonio that began the Gavin Glinton interim era. There you see Charlie Dennis, number 14 for Tampa Bay. He spent 2022 here with the Oakland Roots. It was his first season in USL Championship. He joined Tampa Bay last year. Ended up as a first-team All-League player in his move from the Roots to Tampa Bay. So back at his old stomping grounds against his former team, where he had some really good times. Charlie Dennis scored last week in the winner against Sacramento. It'll be Tampa Bay in their green and yellow from left to right. Oakland in their black and mosaic from right to left. Eligio Araguin, the man in charge, sends us on our way here at Pioneer Stadium. Happy to have you with us this evening. Alongside Marion Crowder, I'm Joe Malfa. And a quick start here for Tampa Bay. Right down the wing, played over the top to Jennings, and it's grabbed by Sorrell as the sun streams in. Wasting in no time, the visitors.
It's going to have to be an industrial performance from Oakland. This Tampa Bay side is a side that really likes to go with tempo.
Rasmussen looking long. Running in behind it, Cedeno. Here's Jesse El Cedeno cutting back inside. Cedeno looking for support. Still trying to find his way. Feeds it in. Rodriguez closes in. And Tampa Bay is finally able to clear the lines only as far as Diaz. Memo Diaz has a go. And it's saved by Farr. How about that for the first minute, end to end? Hopefully it's a sign of things to come.
Yeah, and with a team that likes to go with tempo and likes to go with numbers, there is an opportunity to expose them in transitional moments. It was an effective ball over the top to the run of Cedeno, who finds himself all the way on the left-hand side. And an excellent response early on from this Oakland Roots side. That's going to be a key for them. How quickly can they dispossess this Tampa Bay side? And then Joe making that first pass forward. That's going to be the key to Oakland Roots getting into the final third today.
Had a chance to chat with Gavin Glinton each of the last 2 weeks, and it was ahead of last week's loss against Colorado Springs that he wanted his team to start matches quicker. They'd had an issue in which they were going down in first halves and starting really slowly. Well, that didn't quite work out last week because Colorado Springs scored 2 minutes in and nursed it the rest of the way, 1-0 the victory. So starting strong was again a memo from Coach Glinton to his side this week. And already that opening opportunity shows you maybe message received.
And look, although that was a loss, outside the opening 2 minutes, you have to be happy with that performance if you're the Oakland Roots. They really had the majority of everything. If you look at numbers in the attack, if you look at services, possession, what they were missing is just that end product. And Joe, that really showed by the 23 crosses into the box and only connecting with 4 of those. That's going to be a place to where Oakland wants to improve here at home.
Absolutely. And they were good defensively. Ronaldo Damas and that Colorado Springs attack have been clicking on all cylinders in their 4-match win streak. And again, outside of the goal, which was an absolute wonder goal from a center back in Delence Pierre from outside the 18 where you tip your cap. They didn't really have all too many chances, Colorado Springs. So again, positives for the Roots to draw from this recent run. Gavin Glinton again taking over at the end of April. It has been a murderer's row of opponents for them in this time, going on the road against San Antonio, New Mexico, Tulsa, home against Orange County, road against Colorado Springs, and now Tampa Bay. And they've navigated it, picked up a good bit of points. And now some measuring sticks for them here against Tampa Bay this week and Sacramento on the road next week.
And if you happen to miss our open, to reiterate what this Tampa Bay Rowdies team has been doing of late, they just handed Sacramento Republic their first loss of the USL Championship season. And they did it at Sacramento's home park. So a team who knows how to score, who can go into tough environments and make the game theirs. And so much of what Tampa Bay likes to do is about controlling the rhythm and getting onto the front foot. And what Oakland is going to try to do is make them uncomfortable. If you sit back on a team like Tampa Bay, all you're doing is inviting that pressure. It's about taking the aggression right back to them.
You mentioned first loss of the USL Championship season for Sacramento. First loss of 2024 for Sacramento.
Good point.
Still an Open Cup to the quarterfinal, including a win over an MLS side. First defeat at all came against these Rowdies. On the left side, streaming it through. Manjoma with the service, comes all the way out for a throw. Chatting with Robbie Nielsen, head coach of this Tampa Bay Rowdies side. Talk about this little stretch they've been through now, where they lost those 2 games against Memphis and Birmingham before this current 3-game winning streak. He looks at it largely as a positive stretch overall, even though they had those 2 losses, because the road loss against Memphis, to go down a man 10 minutes in, on the road in the heat, you can point to different reasons they lost that game rather than underlying larger issues. And then against Birmingham, one of those days where the sport is just unkind to you. They dominated the game overall, lose it 1-0. So even though they lost those 2 before these last 3 wins, very happy overall with this stretch and hoping to continue it here against the Roots, who are on the prowl once again. It's Rodriguez, and it's last off of Kleeman for a corner. Look at the injury report brought to you by UCSF Health and UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital. A couple of guys on that list for Tampa Bay. Most importantly, perhaps, gone for the season, Forrest Lasso. And then Paul Blanchette with that concussion out here for the Roots. Also saw the club post on social media in the last couple of days. Forrest Lasso welcomed a new member of the family. Congratulations to the Lasso family. Some light in what has been maybe a dark time, sustaining that season-ending injury. Silver lining to every cloud, home for the birth of a child. Foot race, Mafeka gets there on the second ball. Lindo Mafeka looking for Johnny Rodriguez. And Jordan Farr has it in his clutches. Wants to go quickly. Feverish pace of these first 6 minutes. Jennings gets there. Arteaga. Jennings continues his run. Ngagi right there to defend. Matsoso digs it out further. Sorrell lets it go. If you're hearing the crowd maybe louder than you typically would early in a match for the Roots, it's because they're more than warmed up. This is Oakland's annual doubleheader day, where you had the Oakland Soul, their W League team, play before this match. So an earlier arriving crowd, expecting over 5,000 strong. They were treated to 6 goals in the last 33 minutes by the Oakland Soul in that 6-2 victory. So carrying those good times and some extra time to maybe get some beverages in them here against, or rather for this Oakland Roots game against the Rowdies.
I'll tell you what, I've got to give the drum line over there some credit. The endurance. I mean, they have not stopped, truly, since minute 1 of that Oakland Soul match to right now. I mean, that's been plus 90.
They have been deleting beverages. They're well hydrated, and they are having a lot of fun on this day here at Pioneer Stadium. Here's Sorrell. I have a lot of confidence in Timothy Sorrell. 20-year-old goalkeeper. Made 1 appearance in 2022 for 19 minutes as the emergency backup on a day where Paul Blanchette wasn't available and Benny Diaz picked up a red card for the Roots. Did not play at all last year, but he'd been biding his time still under Paul Blanchette. Had been their Open Cup goalkeeper. And now this year twice thrust into action. Heck of 2 opponents to do it against as well. On the road against San Antonio and home against Tampa Bay. Uncomfortable playing out of the back. You'll see some mistakes with his feet. So the 20-year-old keeper maybe can improve the decision-making, but Sorrell not afraid, not shying away. And you'll see him make a few big saves, a flyer in goal.
And for him, really lucky to come into a match when the Oakland Roots have seemed to find their consistency in the defensive structure. If you look at their last 3 matchups, you've got Orange County and Thomas Among, who is no easy feat to deal with. You've got FC Tulsa and Phil Goodrum. And most recently, Colorado Springs with the likes of Malik Foster, Ronaldo Damas. Limiting players like that speaks volumes. And tonight it's going to have to be on full display as Tampa Bay is not only having Cal Jennings start to step up to the plate, but players like Charlie Dennis as well.
Here's Memo Diaz. I don't know if you disagree with me, but this is an all-uniform matchup, by the way, in USL Championship.
I'm with it.
Yeah?
I have always been high on Oakland's kits.
Some people are hit or miss on the hoop sleeves here for Tampa Bay. I like it.
Retro.
I love
retro.
it. So.
Honestly, shout out to the Tampa Bay social media. Their whole vibe of their Twitter feed matches the vibe of their kits. So I'm here. Consistency, that's all I ask for.
Consistency in the results, too, for Tampa Bay.
I'm also, if the ref is hearing me, that's what I'm asking out of him as well tonight.
Riley almost dispossessed cleanly. Hackshaw steps back in. Lewis Hilton through for Arteaga. Cedeno. Gets it back at the end line. Cedeno squares it back in front. It's blocked by Doherty and out for a corner. More positive signs in the attack from the Roots, who've, again, clearly gotten that message from Gavin Glinton about starting games in a more positive manner than they have as of late. Second early corner. Diaz and Cedeno standing over it as the options. They have a tough one to beat today. And Jordan Farr, goalkeeper of the year 2 seasons ago in USL Championship. It went stale in San Antonio after last season. Tampa Bay picks him up. Could go under the radar as one of the best additions around the league all season. Cedeno curls it in toward Hackshaw, diving through. Kleeman heads it away. Rasmussen goes long again. Headed back centrally. It's usually a no-no, but they had it covered, Tampa Bay. And Farr has it in hand. Nyangabiri able to keep it in. 23-year-old from Burundi. 7 caps for Burundi. And that is a national team that Oakland is missing a player to right now. Cozy Donasiano away with Burundi. He's been a teammate of Nyangabiri. Some friendlies going on right now. Also, Brian Tamaka's gone right now for the Roots. Started the other night in World Cup qualifying for El Salvador. USL on ESPN2 kicks off the summer with a League One showdown as Forward Madison takes on South Georgia Tormenta on Saturday, June 15th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Space opening up here in the midfield for Hilton as he goes for a goal. Off target, the 30-year-old started every game this season for Tampa Bay after he was limited to just 13 appearances last year due to injury. So already at that number, he is a constant in the midfield. 33 starts the year prior. That is what he is on his way back to, hopefully, knock on wood. So long as he stays healthy, vital for the Rowdies centrally. Free kick on the way for the Roots. It's interesting, you and I weren't sure exactly how Tampa Bay would line up without Blake Bodley in the starting lineup for this one. Had been in that left side, and there's plenty of versatility through the ranks here for Tampa Bay. And to be honest, as the game goes along, you pointed out as we were chatting ahead of this game, they are positionless in many ways. They'll rotate a lot, but it's Munjoma who's been on that left side to start. And he draws a difficult assignment, that right side between Cedeno and Diaz. The Roots like to get forward frequently from that right side. Kien. Kleeman. Arteaga. Fouled by Gagi. Tampa Bay spent the whole week here in the Bay Area You alluded to their social media a few moments ago. They had some great stuff. They were playing chicken in the pool.
Yeah.
They were having a grand old time. This is one of those weeks as a team where you might not realize it in the moment, but a month from now, you might look back on this time as a real period of growth for the camaraderie and the bonding. Spending a whole week on the road, back-to-back against Sacramento and Oakland. Get to have that time away, that time to just unwind a little bit. Yes, it's nice to sleep in your own bed, but these are the times throughout the season, in the crucible of a long marathon of a season from March through October, where you do cherish those moments and you grow as a team. Pressure from Reed, back to Farr. And Jordan Farr says enough of that, goes long. Guillen wearing the captain's armband, launches it toward midfield. Started every game as well. Back to that conversation about Hilton in the midfield. There are a few bedrock pieces for this Rowdies team. They're out there game in, game out. So long as they're healthy, Guillen among them. All-League first team 2 seasons ago. All-League second team the year before that. Rasmussen. Mafeka running off the shoulder. It's Rodriguez. Johnny Rodriguez, but the flag did come up.
And that's by inches. You saw Doherty take that big step forward, and that really left the other 2 center backs exposed for Tampa Bay. And we talked about it in the open. Johnny Rodriguez, one of the things that he does so well is playing off the backside shoulder of the center backs, playing in between the outside back, the center back, depending on the formation. And right there, he almost poaches one after Doherty made that lunge and couldn't connect.
'24 season tickets are still available. Get the most benefits and lowest ticket prices by securing your season ticket package for the rest of the year. To secure your tickets, visit us at oaklandrootssc.com/tickets or call 510-488-1144. Arteaga looking through for Jennings. That's a duo that has been outstanding to begin this season. 8 for Arteaga, 8 for Jennings, 16 goals combined. Most prolific duo that we see around the league. Just added a triplet. And that man, Charlie Dennis, making just his 8th appearance this season. Only his 3rd start, as he was coming back from an off-season injury. When he gets back up to full health alongside those 2 guys, the rich get richer here in the Rowdies, and it's clear why. They are, in the minds of many, that 3rd team in that trio of Charleston Battery and Lou City over Indy 11. Indy 11 is right there, knocking on the door of that upper echelon in the Eastern Conference. And in the minds of some, maybe they are in that grouping, but Tampa Bay Rowdies right there with Charleston and Louisville, no doubt. Nyangabiri serves. Arteaga, the diving header, saved by Sorel. Comes down from Monjoma. Try to take it right out of the air. There's your first look at the reflexes of Sorel. Again, a highly touted shot stopper, the 20-year-old backup goalkeeper. Looking direct through Jennings. Hackshaw, a mountain of a man to get around. Ends up on top of him. Still battling for it. And Hackshaw comes away with it. Could have been all sorts of trouble there for Hackshaw. Last thing you need, the ball ends up on top of you and you handle it accidentally. Mafeka His preferred left foot dishes for Riley. Tech shot. Matsoso. So slips it through, offside flag comes up on Riley. A couple of times now, Oakland has been thwarted by that flag.
And the idea is there, right? How can they expose the gaps of the three-back for Tampa Bay? They're looking right in between the likes of Guillen and Munjama. Testing Kleeman, stepping in as that new central center back, seeing just how comfortable, just how lock and step he is with the rest of the group.
Here's Dennis, finds the Angabiri. 20 minutes gone, still scoreless between the Roots and the Rowdies. Glad to have you with us this evening. Alongside Marion Crowder, I'm Joe Malfa. One of the top teams in the East against a surging team in the West. And it has been end-to-end to begin. 5 combined shots, 4 going Tampa Bay's way. A couple more promising attacks for the Roots that were negated by a last-minute offside flag. Energetic first 20. Far cry what we saw on the Oakland side last week in that 1-0 dreary game against Colorado Springs. Game took a different identity for Tampa Bay as well against Sacramento. 2 of the top teams in all of USL Championship who expect to be there at the very end. Feeling out process, cagey at times. Not this one. End-to-end open action, still goalless, but only for now. First corner of the evening on the Tampa Bay side for Charlie Dennis. Delivery from Dennis, flicked away by Oakland. Nyangabiri, Arteaga. Andy Crisostomo out of trouble to the end line. Gavin Glinton pointed to Crisostomo as one of the guys Oakland would have to neutralize. There's a way he can dictate a game in the heart of the midfield. Also mentioned Charlie Dennis. Gavin Glinton, an assistant on that 2022 team when Dennis was with the Oakland Roots. Paid him some major compliments. A guy who can impact the game from anywhere. Juan Guerra originally brought Charlie Dennis into Oakland because he saw him as a guy who could play as a 6, an 8, or a 10 in the midfield, or as a wingback, or go up and get goals as need be. Can do it all except play goalie, but I would imagine he's probably somewhere on that emergency goalkeeper list.
And look, early on, you're already seeing what his movement as that 9 can do. He's dropping deeper on just about every occasion, and with his movement and his ability to come into the midfield, one of the things that he offers higher up the pitch is his vision. He can execute a delivery to perfection. But with him dropping deeper into the midfield, it's forcing Oakland into a decision. Do we go with him and refuse his ability to turn and face up and potentially find a service to a backside runner? Or do we hang back knowing that with his movement deeper, Cal Jennings is unlocked, Nyangabiri is unlocked, Arteaga is unlocked. Those are all the vertical threats that Tampa Bay has. And Charlie Dennis's movement is really what's unlocking their ability to threaten vertically at this juncture.
Gavin Glinton did not shy away from calling this week and next week measuring stick games for the Roots. We'll talk to coaches all the time. We'll ask a question like that because it's our job. We usually don't expect the answer. We usually expect, oh, it's a 1 game at a time. They all count the same, so on and so on and so on. And when we asked Gavin this week, it was, yep, these are very much 2 measuring stick games for us. We know this, and for a group that, again, have sort of turned that page now from stabilizing after a coaching change to actually engaging in this playoff line battle. This is a chance this week and next to see exactly where they're at and where they have to improve. Munjama overcooks it. They'll learn a lot this week and next, Oakland, against 2 teams who Gavin Glinton against that expect to be there at the very end this season in Sacramento and Tampa Bay. Doherty stepping inside. Doherty going for goal. And that was shades of last week in a way for Oakland. A center back stepping up into space. Better result for the Roots this week than last. And fortunately, it's not the same from Jordan Doherty as it was from Delence Pierre last week.
Doherty, a really exciting player, a guy with a lot of vision, and oftentimes you'll see both he and Hilton really starting the build-up for Tampa Bay, and that's a poor giveaway.
Jennings, Dennis, lays it off further. Dennis wants it back. Dennis has it back on that wand of a left foot. Looking back through for Nyangabiri. And that's where the inexperience and the youth comes in for Tim Sorrell.
And I think that's a great point, I'm appreciative of Gavin's honesty with us, because look, at the end of the day, these are two teams in Sacramento and Tampa Bay. They're going to be in the playoffs, and so you may ask, why are they measuring sticks? Well, it's because of that. These are teams that have intelligent players, skilled players, players who know how to adapt and modify within the ebbs and flows of the game. They're not going to be a team who comes out and plays a specific structure and sticks to that. That's a bad giveaway as well.
Another one, this one on a rollout to Matsoso. Fortunately, nothing comes of it on the Roots side, but you gotta wonder right now for Sorrell if his confidence is shaken on those last two deliveries. Kleeman tripped up by Rodriguez. Busy day around USL Championship. Big 3 points for Detroit City. Louisville continues to just roll in the Eastern Conference, and they have a good day in terms of the teams beneath them, with Charleston dropping 2 points against Pittsburgh. Perhaps Tampa Bay in this one drops 2, maybe 3 if Oakland can hold on to things at home. All that's to say, Louisville is on a record-setting pace this year in the Eastern Conference, and they show no signs of slowing down. Cedeno. Nice pass inside for Matsoso. Gets it back to Cedeno. He's been in the thick of it, Cedeno, whenever Oakland has had a positive attack tonight. Hackshaw. Rasmussen. This has been the combo on the back line for Oakland ever since they've stabilized things. You mentioned that gauntlet of strikers they've faced the last 3 matches in Among, in Goodrum, and Damas. In those 3 matches, conceded just the once to Among. In the goal last week against Colorado Springs, banger from about 25-30 yards out from a center back 2 minutes into the game. It's been this quartet of defenders under some pressure now. Jennings on his right foot. Cal Jennings picked away by Gagi. That long, lanky leg in there at the last moment, right as Jennings was about to pull the trigger. Now it's Hilton looking for Arteaga. But the pressure mounting now for Tampa Bay. Starting to find and wrestle total control of this first half from Oakland. They've been keeping a loose eye on possession. It's pretty slanted in Oakland's favor. First 10, first 15, around the 60-40 mark. And it has swung all the way, that pendulum now to 55-45 Tampa Bay's way. Gives you a little glimpse at the control they've taken in these last dozen or so minutes, the Rowdies.
You know, Tampa Bay is a side that averages, if you're looking at expected goal, I mean, sometimes they're around 2.5 averaging, right? That is a high average for expected goals. So if you're Oakland, you have to realize that they are going to get into your final third. They are going to have quality chances. That's the kind of team that they are. On the defensive side for Oakland, it's about picking your moments, trying to be sound in your defensive structure in terms of keeping them pinned to one side, not allowing them to swing the ball left to right like they like to do. This is a team that very much likes to attack out to in. How can you push them towards your number centrally? And once you do that, can you pick the proper moment to go and then gain some ground quickly the other way?
Eligio Araguin taking some umbrage with the methodology of the throw-in. We're good this time. Now, we called your attention to the goalkeeper for Oakland when we showed you the lineup graphic earlier in the evening. One other area where we should call your attention was to the bench. Dom Dwyer available for Oakland tonight. Chatting with some people around the team, it seems like tonight is the night his debut will come for the Roots. So something to keep in the back of your mind. Second half, 20-30 minutes remaining. If the Roots need a goal, whether it's pressing for an equalizer or for a go-ahead goal, Dom Dwyer available, former U.S. men's national teamer, decades-long standout in MLS. Reed finds Lindo Mafeka lined up on his left foot. It's already down now for Tampa Bay. It's the last thing you want to see for a team that is still getting over the loss of Forrest Lasso in the middle of that back line.
A bit of a tough challenge between Riley and Doherty. A player who had stepped in outside of this match, like for Forrest Lasso, the center of those three, and had stepped in well. You mentioned it, they haven't conceded too many in the last handful of matches. And he brings a different kind of identity to this Tampa Bay Rowdies side. He's a guy who they can build out of from the back. Obviously, they lose. When you lose Forrest Lasso, you lose your set-piece target.
This injury timeout brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. They can't quite make out exactly what they're looking at here for Doherty. At one point in there, look at the trainer was working on his ribs and his shoulder, and that's what he's trying to work out here, his right arm, it seems, as he gets up to his feet, twisting. I guess that's a positive sign. You always fear the worst when a player goes into a challenge like that. It could be lower extremities, but he's trying to just twist and maneuver his way through the pain, so that seems like a good sign. Doesn't look like a player who's done for the night. Rodriguez, 3 goals on the season for Oakland. It's going to be interesting to see how everybody sort of falls in line now if and when Dom Dwyer debuts and asserts himself for the Roots. Talk about a guy like Rodriguez, a guy on the bench like Mishnah Shari, who's up to 2 goals now for Oakland here in his first season in USL. And then there's Dwyer. 85 goals, 19 assists in his MLS career. Very brief existence in USL Championship for Dom Dwyer. Only 2013, 12 appearances, 10 starts, 13 goals, won the championship and scored 4 goals in the final.
A casual ad.
Casual 1 year spent in USL. Dennis. Here's Munjoma. Hey, Munjoma. Reed undercut Jennings a bit. Gets away with it and continues on. It's been a bright spot for Oakland. Basically all their good opportunities last week against Colorado Springs were because of him, and hit the crossbar at one point in the first half. Credited with the assist on the game-winning goal against Tulsa in that 1-0 win. Trayvon Reed scored the penalty to equalize in the match prior against Orange County. Had an assist as well on the goal on the road against San Antonio that started this whole era of Gavin Glinton. Trayvon Reed has really come on in this new era, in this new role he has under Coach Glinton. Haven't seen him much tonight, but you caught a glimpse of him there as he danced to the midfield. Dennis chips it ahead just over Jennings. Mafeka. Play on around the fallen Trayvon Reed. He slipped as the contact came. Tampa Bay not obligated to play out. They'll continue on. Mafeka will take the veteran foul here. So this player can receive the attention.
He's asking for the persistent infringement call from the referee, saying that that's been 3 times. Seems like all is well with that shoulder. Maybe just wanted to get the referee's attention.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah. We mentioned Forrest Lasso. This is ideally where you would have him as the main set piece target here. You got Kleeman on the backside in his place, though.
Dennis runs over it. Hilton delivers it. Sorrell tracking it and has it. Now in his one start this season against San Antonio, it was an issue in tracking a ball like that in the air, and he conceded one of the goals that evening. So something to keep in mind as he continues to track more and more of those on crosses or set pieces from these Rowdies. Rasmussen. And back for Gagi, 27-year-old from Georgia. Spent his career in Europe, in Georgia, and North Macedonia, playing at some of the highest levels, qualifiers for Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League. This is his first year playing in USL Championship, and he has been a revelation for the Roots. Mainstay in the middle of that back line, his 10th start tonight. Scored that game-winning goal against Orange County. Threat on set pieces, comfortable in the box with his feet as well. This game was slowed considerably after the fast start. First 15-20 minutes of end-to-end action between the Roots and the Rowdies. Would have been naive to think they could have kept up that pace for 90 minutes, but naive and hopeful are two different things.
They play an exciting brand of soccer. There is no doubt about it.
Just leaves you wanting more and more of it when you see it those first 20 minutes. Well, you've been there. You've probably been a part of some of those track meets. As much as you want to keep the pedal to the metal, it's just not possible.
It's not.
Diaz services. Hackshaw flicks it along. Got in behind. Tampa Bay lost track of him and a great ball put in. A nice smile on his face as he looks skyward and jogs back up the field. The captain of this Roots side did not go away with Trinidad and Tobago for this batch of friendlies they had. Positive for the Roots to keep his services. It's been a regular for Trinidad and Tobago. 38 caps now. The last one came back in November in the CONCACAF Nations League quarterfinal against the United States. Trinidad and Tobago actually beat the U.S. in that one. People forget that because the U.S. got through on aggregate. But TNT did win that last game, that last meeting, 2-1. Hackshaw part of that team. for a throw on the Oakland side. And the Roots Charlie 2024 jerseys are here and selling fast. Purchase your 2024 jersey by visiting shop.oaklandrootssc.com. I hope they've switched off and had a sub at some point, because that's a heck of an arm workout if he was going the whole soul match plus this one.
But the beat's been the same, so that's why I'm confused. The beat hasn't changed.
His delts are going to be like boulders tomorrow.
Maybe that's the point.
Who needs a gym membership?
Yeah, exactly. He rests up all week for this. Purely shoulders.
Locked in. Absolutely locked in. Soft touch from Nyangabiri. 7th start of the season, 12th appearance for Nyangabiri. His first season in USL Championship after spending last year in the Canadian Premier League. Before that, made a name for himself as a teenager into his early 20s in Australia.
He's such an exciting player for this league. Just his 1v1 ability on the ball. I think the next progression for his game is just the decision making and being at times a little bit quicker with his release, but overall skill and talent, pace, he's got it all to be really impactful in this league for years to come.
Already Nyangabiri, here's some of that 1v1 action. Nyangabiri plays it in behind for Jennings, right on cue, Marion. Jennings looking back post, flicked away by Memo Diaz, but there's more glimpses of Nyangabiri. Chrysostamo. Dennis. That's a cheeky chip into Manjoma. Jennings turns a corner, end line. Jennings feeds it in front. Arteaga and Nyangabiri had a chance at it. They both let it through. Now it's Hilton. Out for a corner for the Rowdies. Dennis over to take it once again. Had some success, Tampa Bay, turning this corner down this near side. Past Rasmussen, whether it's been Nyangabiri or Jennings. Rasmussen and Hackshaw, I should say. A couple times each now. I've had to deal with it from Jennings and Nyangabiri. Dennis finds Arteaga. And they'll do it now from the opposite side. Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest product specials and more. Select, the player's choice.
You mentioned Nyangabiri and Cal Jennings and their ability to get around that right-hand side. So much of that has to do with their movement and their ability to force 1v1 situations.
Hilton's corner through traffic. Sorrell was a little bit late in getting there. Headed away. Nyangabiri goes for a goal. Off target. Shout for a touch there from Jennings, but out for a goal kick. And again, I mentioned it a few moments ago on that free kick for Sorrell. He was tracking that ball. Yeah. He was trying to get through traffic. Maybe it would have been better served staying at home. Never got through that traffic, and he would have left a vacated net if not for his back line bailing him out.
Couldn't agree more.
Don't mean to pick on him again, but 20-year-old just making his second career start. Just things to be mindful of for you at home, the viewer. It's not the all-league goalkeeper Paul Blanchette tonight. Again, he suffered a concussion in training this week. And now the concern is Matsoso, who took himself down away from the play. It's a player who's been marred by injuries the last couple of years. Going back to his time in Louisville. Last year was limited to just 23 starts for Oakland. Only missed 7 games, played 27 of the 34. But there was a number of games in that stretch for Matsoso where he was healthy, but he wasn't. He was good for 15, 20 minutes and no more.
That's such a frustrating way to play.
thing right now for Oakland, aside from getting back to his feet, is that we are so close in proximity to halftime. So if they need to get through 3 minutes, which is what we're told stoppage time will be, if they need to get through 3 minutes down a man, they can reassess at the break for 15 minutes.
And not waste a window.
That does not look like a comfortable man right now.
No.
Got options positionally there on the inside. Danny Gomez could also bring on Niall Logue, the center back, and push Neville Hackshaw up a bit. Plenty of options as Matsoso tries to jog it off.
Your attention, please. The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 3 minutes of stoppage time.
3 minutes of stoppage time now confirmed. Goalless half, but not all goalless stretches created equally. Seen some good moments and good opportunities for both Tampa Bay and Oakland through these first 45. Maybe another one afoot. Reed. Trayvon Reed crosses field. Diaz over the top. Gathered by Farr. It's been a lot of that for Oakland again, getting to the final third, but nothing coming of it. Jennings going 2v5 here. Cal Jennings puts his head down and goes, and Sorrell makes the stop.
And perhaps on a night where Paul Blanchette is the goalkeeper, Jennings doesn't make that ambitious opportunity, but we can see early on just with some of the service targets on the free kicks, on the corner kicks, some of the shot selections that seem a bit uncharacteristic from the Tampa Bay side. They've definitely pointed out this inexperienced goalkeeper who, to his defense, has held his own. Oakland has bent a bit towards the last 15-ish minutes, but they haven't broken yet. One thing that they're going to need to sort out as they go into the second half is getting a player in a black kit in and around number 4 in green. Hilton has been such a bright spot for Tampa Bay and what they're able to do. And sometimes it feels like Tampa Bay's attack is suffocating, and it's because of Hilton and his ability to collect those second balls in the second phase and ping them back out, whether that be to the wide channel, a cheeky pass up through the middle. Really an unsung hero for this Tampa Bay side.
Trayvon Reed carries ahead. Doherty tracks back. It's been a fun one-on-one down this near side between Reed and Nyangabiri. To your point earlier about Nyangabiri and the talent he possesses in the 1v1, just going at players, that creativity. We see some of that same spark with Reed.
Oh, yeah.
Them going at it on the same side tonight has been entertaining.
Really for both wings, Cedeno and Reed on the Oakland side, they've got the pace mismatch in their favor. Again, if they can just find a player that's willing to compete to win possession of the ball in the center of the park with Hilton, find those wider areas, those are players who can win a foot race any day of the week.
Three minutes come and gone of stoppage time. Last chance here for the Roots. Rasmussen to Rodriguez, leaves it for Riley. Out for a corner, but will they be allowed to take it? Nope. There's your halftime whistle. It's got to end at some point. The Roots are unhappy, but they already went nearly a minute beyond stoppage time anyway. So 0-0, your score through 45.
If you're Oakland, I think you have to be pleased through the first 45 because you've done what your manager's asked and you've started the game in a much higher tempo and a much more focused energy. Going into the second half, we talked about their ability to withstand the kind of pressure that Tampa Bay can put on you. Can't sustain for another 45 minutes. You got to find a way to gain some ground at some point in the second half.
3 straight wins for the Rowdies, 2 wins in the last 3 for the Roots. It's been a hotly contested first 45, and we've got 45 more to come here on this doubleheader day at Pioneer Stadium. Oakland Soul won earlier, Roots trying to do the same. More to come from Hayward, California.
Oakland Roots Sports Club is back, and it's never been easier to get in the game. Season membership packages and single tickets start at just $25. Join us now at oaklandrootssc.com.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. It's your job to stock the city, restaurants and rooftops, bars and basements. Every corner store. And when it gets tough, you stay driven. Give it all you got, going non-stop for 20 stops. Because at the end of the day, every single round is on you. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't many adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
Oakland Roots Sports Club is back, and it's never been easier to get in the game. Season membership packages and single tickets start at just $25. Join us now at oaklandrootssc.com.
Well, this is game 2 of the day on this field. As we alluded to earlier, Oakland Soul took down Academica in USLW League, an 8-goal affair. That was the only one you just saw there in the first half. The rest of them, the 7, all came with 33 minutes or fewer.
Yeah, what was so impressive about the Soul is they actually trailed leading into the half, and they never panicked. What they did is they came out into the second 45 with a mission and a sense of urgency. And you saw Jordan Guy, such a young, promising talent. She gets a hat trick. They had a couple sets of subs that made a real impact. Tatiana Cunningham getting on the score sheet. Ceci G, she gets on the score sheet as well. Does a lot of work in and out of the box. And then how about this banger from O'Kane? Top bin, no doubt about it. It was such an exciting match. And really, Joe, as the fans grew into this one, so did the Oakland Soul, and what a performance for them on this home doubleheader day.
Oakland Roots wondering if they can borrow some of those goals right about now.
I'm sure they'd want some.
I think 3-2 would have been enough for the Soul. Slide 3 more to this game here. But it's another testament just to the growth of the USL umbrella as a whole. You've got Super League beginning in August, of course. You've got W League that is showcasing talent like this. And you've got USL Championship right here and right now between the Rowdies and the Roots. Still knotted up at zeros. We'll take a look around USL Championship when we return.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
The best nights start with Jägermeister. Made with 56 botanicals. Always served ice cold.
Take a miracle to come back from this. Heartbreaking end to the season. But what's this?
For the moments when anticipation
Clock's counting down. 5 seconds. 3, 2,
becomes celebration. Jägermeister. Meister the moment.
what a moment.
Rolls it across, Cheney leaves it, Belindres! Regulation time, Doyle, and up in front, rebound, scores!
They're hungry for the
game. They want to see women's soccer, they want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes, only want the best. Maybe grinding every night, won't settle for less. Got me looking to the sky, got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
This what y'all was waiting for. Now watch the competition. This is
Hard strike, and it's in the net.
And his service comes in the middle. Bicycle kick. Score! Paul Blanchett standing on his head.
Taylor could do nothing about it.
Oakland didn't take care of their shit,
Post! A dream here for Oakland. Northern California derby as Oakland Roots plays host to Sacramento Republic. Oh, CBS, that audience is going to love the NorCal Derby when we get there on CBS in July. Get there next week, though, by the way. Oakland visiting Sacramento next week. And that Sacramento team is bolstered by Justin Portillo. Not the only big transfer this week, with Jake LaCava going from Charleston to San Antonio. And there you have your Player of the Month nominees. You can't go wrong with any of those players there right now in USL Championship. But a lot going on right now as we go through the month of June, and a lot of matchups to dissect here as we take a look at the scores from around the league. Out-of-town scores brought to you by Visit Oakland. Get out on the town and visit Oakland to explore arts, culture, and world-class cuisine. Tulsa, that win over San Antonio stands out.
Need it. They need it. This is an FC Tulsa side that is just drooling at the mouth for some points. And then we talked about the red-hot Colorado Springs Switchbacks. They've won their last 5 matches, knotted up with Memphis. So they haven't been beaten, and for the way that they started the season, Joe, I think that's quite promising for James Chambers.
Yeah, 6 unbeaten now for the Switchbacks. A draw, a couple draws on either end, 4 wins in between. Well, that's not math. That's actually 7 unbeaten for Colorado Springs. I got there in the end.
In school,
I got
fine.
there. It's okay. We got there in the end. We were told there'd be no math. This is what's ahead tomorrow and then in the next week. Detroit City and Charleston really sticks out as a massive one in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, Detroit, a team that really started out hot and have struggled to find some consistency as of late. They've been a bit ridden with injuries, and Charleston cooled off a little bit with that 0-0 draw against Bob Lilly's Pittsburgh Riverhounds. So we'll see if Detroit can maybe take some points there.
And San Antonio has to stop the bleeding as they visit Indy 11, losing against El Paso, losing against Tulsa, now going on the road against a scorching Indy team. That is one to think about as well as we go into next weekend. Plenty to think about here. Roots lost last week but won the 2 prior. Rowdies have won 3 in a row. All hangs in the balance the rest of this evening here at Pioneer Stadium. Second half on the way.
Oakland Roots Sports Club is back, and it's never been easier to get in the game. Season membership packages and single tickets start at just $25. Join us now at oaklandrootssc.com.
The only way to win is to do it together. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots have teamed up. We are leading the charge to address food insecurity, empowering all athletes to improve physical health, and expanding the health and wellness resources available to the residents of Oakland and the Bay Area. We're committed to continuing our work to improve the lives and health of our community together. Visit oaklandroots.com/anthem to learn more.
Do you like getting cash back on your credit card? A free coffee when you fill your cafe's punch card? A complimentary dessert with your restaurant order? Then you'll like getting a 5% discount on your electricity with Ava Community Energy's Bright Choice service. Visit avaenergy.org to learn more about Ava's low rates for electricity.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. It's your job to stock the city, restaurants and rooftops, bars and basements. Every corner store. And when it gets tough, you stay driven. Give it all you got, going nonstop with 20 stops. Because at the end of the day, every single round is on you. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't mini adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
Do you like getting cash back on your credit card? A free coffee when you fill your cafe's punch card? A complimentary dessert with your restaurant order? Then you'll like getting a 5% discount on your electricity with Ava Community Energy's Bright Choice service. Visit avaenergy.org to learn more about Ava's low rates for electricity.
Oakland Roots Sports Club is back, and it's never been easier to get in the game. Season membership packages and single tickets start at just $25. Join us now at oaklandrootssc.com.
Tonight's match is presented in part by Anthem Blue Cross and Modelo. Take a look at stats from the first half between Oakland and Tampa Bay. You got 3 combined shots on target. You got 12 total, but really a lot of it, Marion, was just end-to-end with neither team able to really hone in the final third. Expect more of it in the second half, however.
Yeah, I would say that there wasn't a lot of rhythm to that first 45 minutes, and if that benefits anyone, it benefits this Oakland Roots side. Tampa Bay is a team that really likes to play in a rhythm. They like for the game to feel fluid, especially in terms of their attacking success. Oakland is a team that can really take you by surprise. They can be efficient and lethal in a matter of 1 or 2 passes, which is what we saw in those opening minutes.
This is also where we would have usually showed you the highlights, but we made the collective decision to bypass that because there wasn't really a lot worth revisiting from that first half. One thing that is worth revisiting, though, is the standings with where we are right now for both of these teams in both conferences and what it means. Oakland sitting in a fight near the playoff line where you have the Roots hoping to remain above that line. And in the Eastern Conference, you've got Tampa Bay sitting at the top where they're in 4th place. They've got 23 points. They're right there with the likes of Indy and Charleston and Louisville. This would be massive if they could pick up those 3. And then in the West, again, the Roots right up against that playoff line, sitting 2 points back of the Switchbacks. There's the Switchbacks who have games in hand on the Roots, so you're looking at maybe more Memphis and Tulsa from behind all of a sudden with that win over San Antonio tonight. That sneaks up on you if you're the Roots.
And it's just so crazy to see how minute the differences are in terms of points, really, on the side of the Western Conference. It's all about peaking at the right time, and if you're Oakland, it has felt like it's there. All the pieces are there, and perhaps this could be the game where it fully emerges and you get the end result.
See if that's the case in this second half. Roots left to right in the black, Tampa Bay right to left in the green and yellow. Glad to have you with us this evening with Marion Crowder. I'm Joe Malfa. Half number 4 of the day for these Oakland fans after the earlier Oakland-Seoul Academica USLW League matchup. Saw 8 goals in that one, still none here. Here's Rasmussen. Early ball in over the head of Rodriguez. Diaz was lining up the volley. Riley. Back from Afeka. Tampa Bay able to clear. Danny Gomez came on at the break for the Roots, replacing Apo Matsoso. And Damian Rivera for Pacific Nyangabiri on the Tampa Bay side. Interesting on the Nyangabiri substitution. He was really positive in that first half. You wonder if he picked up something that he was nursing that we were not aware of. But he was one of the bright spots in that half for Tampa Bay. Rivera comes on, the 21-year-old on loan from New England Revolution. Season-long loan, joined in February. Rodriguez eyeing up a service, blocked by Guillen. Rivera has carved out a nice role off the bench here for Tampa Bay. Appeared in all 13 matches now, just 2 of those starts, has a goal. And on that loan from New England Revolution. Interesting to see if it's like for Tampa Bay, or if they move some pieces around and very fluid in their formation and in who plays where exactly. Here is Rivera. Plays it off for Manjoma. Manjoma had it blocked out for a corner. So already you see a switch here. Manjoma was your left wing back in that first half for Tampa Bay. Now he's on the opposite side. Charlie Dennis has moved around the chessboard, and Rivera's up top. So again, just goes back to that fluidity for Tampa Bay through the lines.
Versatility. That is what Tampa Bay is in a nutshell. Players who can attack you from anywhere and everywhere.
Swinger toward Arteaga from Dennis. Matsoso did give it a go. It was the last couple of minutes of that first half after he went down with injury. I wonder if that assessment was just made at the half not to risk it for a player again who has an injury history. Gomez takes his spot in the midfield, like for like. Dennis through the wickets, but Jennings not ready to receive. Rivera. Now for a goal kick, emphatically called by Eligio Araguin on top of it. Tampa Bay on the front foot to begin this second half, pinning Oakland in. It was trending that way though, Mary, in late stages of that first half where Tampa Bay had been in control. Oakland struggled to find any sort of outlet, and that has certainly carried over.
We mentioned it a bit in the first half, but just the identity of this Tampa Bay side. They're a team, if you start to sit back and try to absorb the pressure like we saw in those last 15 minutes of the first half, it's never going to bode well for you. So aggression is really what this game calls for. And we saw Oakland take the game to Tampa Bay really in the opening minutes. Yes, it opens you up to be box to box, but there's only so much pressure you can sustain as a back line. At some point, you've got to be willing to go toe-to-toe and bring the same kind of tempo, the same kind of energy. And look, at the end of the day, if you do that and Tampa Bay is willing to still put that amount of numbers forward, then you might find yourselves in a numbers up situation going the other way. So it is a bit of a cat and mouse game when you're playing this Rowdy squad.
Long from Hackshaw. Bounces before Kleeman heads away, and a late offside flag. Question still lingers when we might see Dom Dwyer make his Oakland debut. Again, all signs pointing to that happening tonight. Given away here out of the back by Tampa Bay. Reed back for Cedeno. Trying to slip it through for Rodriguez. And through all that, they can't get a shot off. Back to Reed. Mafeka hobbling, holding his right leg. Hasn't taken himself down yet because his team still has the attack. It's chipped through. Mafeka, he can't get there. He tried. Still bouncing around. Rasmussen sends it long. Diaz. He's been trying to go down Mafeka, but just hasn't had the moment because his team's been on the attack still. Behind the plate, trying to jog it off. Hasn't gone down yet.
That was a perfect example, though, of Oakland throwing the risky numbers into the attack, and what it did is it forced Tampa Bay to track, right, and put numbers behind the ball. And because of that, you saw them able to collect the ball. Again, they lost it, they recollected it, put it right back into the mixer, and had a decent look at it just now.
Rivera blows by. Still Rivera lays it off. And not a bad effort from Crisostomo. Looking for a great way to enjoy a night out with friends, family, or coworkers? Check out our discounted group ticketing options for your next birthday or party. To secure your tickets, visit us at oaklandrootssc.com/tickets or call 510-488-1144. Arteaga takes it off the shoulder. Arteaga goes for goal. Didn't really have much of an angle. It's about to be cut off by Hackshaw. Not a bad shout from Arteaga to go for it. And we know a player of his caliber, that one had a decent chance of ending up in the net with his 8 on the season.
He mishit it just a bit, but that's really the first time we've called his name for the entirety of the match in terms of being on the ball, and that goes back to Oakland and what they've been able to do the last handful of matches, limiting big-time players to very few chances. Even when you look at Cal Jennings, and he touched the ball a lot in the first half, don't get me wrong, but Oakland did a really good job to force him outside the frame of goal, make the angles difficult.
We've alluded to the crowd throughout the evening, Marion, that it was there from the jump, and it hasn't stopped. And now we have the data behind it, 6,408. It is an Oakland Roots, Oakland Soul club record tonight here on doubleheader day. So a tip of the cap to the fans who have been going all day long. All told, 180 minutes of action when all is said and done. Still have another 35 plus stoppage time to get through, and they're hoping that they see 6 combined points for their teams after the Soul won earlier in W League.
And tip of the cap to the front office staff. It takes a lot to put on a one home match, much less 2. Tons of marketing behind this day, and they're getting paid back in the numbers now.
Rodriguez looking for Reed. Still trying to give these fans something to jump up about in this second half of the doubleheader. Roots are pushing with the soul for that contract for the Oakland Coliseum to be their home next year. Confident in getting it done, getting closer to it. It'll be something special to see next year. These fans pack out that place as this league continues to just grow and expand in its reach. Jennings forgot the ball. Gomez ends up calmly playing it back to Sorrell. We see it for Tampa Bay at Al Lang, one of the better environments around the league as well. Those Rowdies fans getting rowdy game in, game out. Picturesque right there on the water as well.
Yeah. I always love the opening scene on their home broadcast. Little picture of the marina.
Manjoma. Part of that title-winning team last year, Manjoma and Phoenix. Part of that team again to begin this season. Only made one appearance for Rising before his transfer on March 29th. He's been a regular for the Rowdies since. Guillen. Dennis was calling for it back. Guillen maybe should have given it to him. Dennis just gave him a look back. He did not seem happy based on the body language, Charlie Dennis. Attack continues through Arteaga. Shout for a handball there. And I think Oakland got away with a big one. We'll have to take a look at it when we have an opportunity. But Tampa Bay had a shout that they should be at the spot. Rodriguez the other way for Oakland. Reed. To the end line, Reed. And out for a goal kick. Look back at this penalty shout. I mean, it doesn't get clearer than that, I don't think. Tampa Bay, hard done.
That's
Oakland gets away with one.
It's a handball.
It's one of those where, I mean, no goal was going to come in that moment, but
it changes the trajectory, and it's an arm in an unnatural position, and it potentially stops a goal-scoring opportunity. We have no idea where that ball could have gone.
There are some that maybe look more egregious, maybe on a shot when you're at the edge of the six and it sticks out.
It is. Inside the box, that has to be called.
Well, in the universe that is potential handball and penalty kick calls, Oakland's not going to, say anything about that, because last week against Colorado Springs, they had an interesting one where a penalty on a handball was called for the Roots, and then without VAR, obviously, here in this league, they went back and overturned it. I'd never seen it, and it was an explanation that Gavin Glinton still has not gotten, as Jennings cuts in and goes for goal, has it blocked. So it evens out a week later.
Yeah, if he gets that, I would like that as well, personally.
So after that happened to Oakland last week, maybe the universe evens out with him getting away with this one. It's been a theme, though, for them going back a few weeks now. They had a penalty given to them in the Orange County game that they probably shouldn't have gotten. Then they had one that should have been obviously given in the Tulsa game, didn't get. So it's a weekly theme of the universe evening things out for Oakland on penalties. Tampa Bay's not going to care.
To them, that's clear as day.
On an adventure here and clears it. You can maybe count on one hand, maybe just a finger or two, if that, the amount of goalkeepers in this league that a coach would trust more than Jordan Farr in a situation like that. Maybe Danny Vitiello for Sacramento, the adventures he takes, and a guy who's been Golden Glove multiple times and goalkeeper of the year in this league. There are few as good as Farr. I think maybe a lot of you at home hold your breath when you see a goalkeeper that far out as he was moments ago. Not Jordan Farr.
Speaking of Danny Vitiello, his performance against this very Tampa Bay Rowdy side, although they ended up losing that match, he ends up getting save of the week. An incredible performance from him.
A contact there, edge of the area. Just a free kick here for Oakland. Outside the area, barreling through was Arteaga.
That was so silly. That was such a silly foul. It'll be Arteaga, number 9 in green, against Memo Diaz. Guillen heads this one out to clear, and Arteaga just clear through the back of it. Doesn't even try to make the play on the ball.
At his stature, Memo Diaz is not winning too many aerial battles either, so
his
makes
feet are
less sense.
set, his position is there. And to your point, you're not going up against a guy that's 6'3". And now you've put yourself in a really precarious position against two very crafty players in terms of their set piece ability in Cedeno and Reed.
Cedeno, the left-footed option, Reed, the right-footed option. That two-man wall there of sorts for Oakland is not an accident. Look for Cedeno to try and put it right through where Rasmussen and Gagi are as they vacate. It is Cedeno going far post, and Farr takes it out of the top corner. Could not have struck it better. Could not have had a better save, and we're still scoreless.
That's class all the way around. So here's what led to it. Diaz clearly in position, Arteaga clearly through the back. And that two-man wall, Cedeno puts it right over him. And what a brilliant save from Farr to keep this one knotted at 0.
Seeing that more and more now, where you have your own teammates sort of form that blockade, block the goalkeeper's vision. Now from the corner, flicked on. Shot for handball for the Roots, and not given. Cedeno goes right through that lane. Farr with one of the saves of the week. You mentioned Vitiello, what he did last week against Tampa Bay. Farr might have gotten
Very
himself
similar,
on that
yeah.
list. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, all on Sirius XM FC 157.
And a player we haven't talked about a lot on the Tampa Bay side, but one I feel like they're missing in terms of quality services into the box is Blake Bodley, number 11 in green. Such an active wingback for this side, and really always in and around the 18-yard box, always willing to get a service off. And there has been a bit of quality missing from this Tampa Bay Rowdies attack.
That's a quality ball through from Arteaga, but Rivera can't handle it. Hackshaw bending it ahead towards Cedeno. Seeing Charlie Dennis pop in at left wing back now.
I like it.
It brings me to a conversation that's going to be interesting when we get toward the end of the year. For a player who was all league first team last year in Charlie Dennis, they need to maybe invent like a utility position for first team all league, because I don't think he's going to be even eligible to make it, because he's not going to have enough games at one position. We've seen him. This is his 3rd start of the year, 8th appearance overall, and he's playing somewhere different every time, and he's great everywhere.
He should be the at-large bid.
In this game alone, he has started as the number 9. He's played both wingbacks, and he's dropped in as a midfielder at times. Now it's Diaz for Oakland. Rodriguez battling for it. Cedeno. Can hear those chants from the crowd. We want Dwyer. That is, again, Dom Dwyer. We're in that territory now. We're told 20 to 30 is maybe the most they'd push him. They intentionally held him out this whole time from when they first acquired him earlier in the year to now, because, again, he didn't play at all last year. Sat this season out, and a player who needs to get back into it in their eyes, to not risk any injury that would put him on the shelf. They wanted him to essentially have a full-length preseason during this time while the season was going on. That time is up. And again, they field 20 to 30 tonight for Dwyer. We shall see. Hackshaw launched it, but he'll have to ice the shoulders and do it again, because before then, Eligio Aregin blows the whistle, wants to have a conversation with Gagi, Kleeman, and Farr. Does it again, Hackshaw on the long throw, flicked on by Gagi. Not afraid to use that as an extra set piece.
15 minutes away from now to the conclusion of alcoholic beverages. Head on over to your nearest bar to pick up that last beverage.
So Babakar and Jai getting ready for Oakland. We've also in the last few minutes seen Memo Diaz go down to a knee and labor through. So you wonder if that's something on the horizon here for Oakland. Lately it's been Jai further up the field as an out-and-out winger, but by trade he is a wing back, and that could be a like-for-like swap. Both teams have still made just one change each, and both came at halftime, so neither team has burned a substitution window yet. Gagi making his way now to the halfway line, so that sub is imminent. Well, we've also seen Lindo Mafeka hobbling and limping around, so whether it's Diaz or Mafeka, I figure it'd be one of those two for Njai. Bad breaks tonight for Oakland in that regard.
Yeah.
Where you saw the substitution used first for Gomez and coming on for Matsoso, who was injured in the first half. We've got a clearly now hobbled Mafeka and Diaz, some things to keep an eye on. They had just gotten through an early season rough patch that lingered in terms of the health. We've had a clean bill of health now for a few weeks. Blanchette picks up the midweek concussion. So we got Tim Sorrell out there tonight in goal for Oakland, who's been untested, mind you, this entire second half. But with Matsoso down and now Mafeka and Diaz limping around, hope for Oakland's sake that that injury bug is not back and biting again. Munjoma. Here comes that change for Oakland. It is number 10 flash on the board. So Mafeka out and Jai on. As an assist on the season, and Jai has been better as of late as he's pushed higher up the field. Sort of ditched what was a pretty regular wingback role. Interesting where he slots in now. And how things maybe shuffle here. Conversation between Njai and Diaz. Mafeka has been an out-and-out number 10. That wouldn't be in the wheelhouse of Njai. Let's see some maneuvering here. And there you have it. It looks like Cedeno drops in as a 10, and Njai takes a spot on this right wing.
That could be a really interesting move. Cedeno, a player that understands how to be that supporting number 10, and Johnny Rodriguez, obviously a player with good link-up play. We just saw him try to threaten in behind vertically, but he's got the stature to go toe-to-toe with the 3-back of Tampa Bay. Perhaps just needs some support underneath him, and maybe Cedeno is the answer, who can then spring some of the wingers on either the left or the right.
Joma cancels out Reed. Munjoma wants it back. Rivera keeps it instead. It finds Munjoma anyway. Flips it toward Arteaga. Sorrell unsure of himself, going for goal. Jennings. And no harm, no foul in the end for Oakland. But another instance that we've harped on tonight where Sorrell is not confident off his line just in his second career start, and it creates a world of chaos.
And it's a cheeky decision here from Munjoma. Just a chipped, lofted ball again over the top, testing the ability of Sorrell to come out, be strong, and get it. That's one where he can collect that. You got to catch that, go to ground. That's not a position to try and get a deflection, a punch out. In that scenario, Arteaga just gets enough on it, and Cal Jennings, the opportunist that he is, almost sends it home. And obviously, we're not privy to know when Tampa Bay found out that Paul Blanchette wasn't going to be available, but it surely seems that this was on the scouting report for their group, that should we see Tim Sorrell, this is where we need to test him.
Rodriguez finds Cedeno. Just under 20 to play now at Pioneer Stadium. Along with Marion Crowder, I'm Joe Malfa. Glad to have had you with us all day long here on doubleheader day in Oakland. Seoul won in W League earlier. Roots trying to replicate it here in Championship. Diaz, back post! There's the mark for Oakland! Jessiel Cedeno! They have the lead against Tampa Bay.
Electric reaction from the crowd. And it's Diaz's ability to stay wide and question the shape of the Rowdies. No one gets to him. It's a free service. And Cedeno started to make the run to the near post. He realizes Johnny Rodriguez is already there. What does he do? Makes the loop to the back post, and a pin-perfect delivery from Diaz to the head of Cedeno for a class finish. And an even better reaction from the fans.
6,408 strong today, a club record. Cedeno knows where the camera is, and he knows they now have a 1-0 lead, and it's a $100 donation to the Berkeley Humane Society, generously donated by the partner LJ Cruise Company. Donate or adopt a shelter pet at berkeleyhumane.com. Now comes the most interesting part for Oakland. You're going to get everything now from Tampa Bay. Can you withstand? Last week, you blanked Colorado Springs for 88 minutes after a center back hit a worldie 2 minutes in. The week prior, you blanked Tulsa. And before that, you went the last hour or so clean against Orange County after conceding an early goal. You're through 73 clean here. They've been better defensively, but this is going to be their toughest test now against an all-out Tampa Bay attack.
No offense to the prior teams that you mentioned, but this is a different animal in terms of the Tampa Bay Rowdies and what they can bring both from an individual standpoint and from the attacking identity that this team possesses. I've mentioned it before, that they are sometimes positionless in their ability to attack, and with that comes a lot of confusion from the defensive side of things. It's going to have to be pinpoint communication from the guys in the black kits to get this one done. And if you're Tampa Bay, how do you respond? You knew that this stretch of road games was going to be tough. You've already proven that you can go on the road and be efficient with that 1-0 win against Sacramento at their place. And now you find yourself in an interesting position, an unusual position perhaps over the last handful of matches, trailing with not all that much time to go. But now is when you start to try and dictate the tempo. There hasn't been a rhythm really for Tampa Bay throughout the majority of this match. They need to find players like Hilton to get on the ball a little bit more. And similarly to what was working for them in the first half was having that duality of a player checking in behind and one running in behind the back line. So one checks, one runs in behind. Throughout the rest of the second half, they've lost that, perhaps with the substitutions, with the movement of Charlie Dennis to more of a wide position. They need to find that again. and then really hone in on their attacking identity, which is out to in, getting in line, getting services.
Trayvon Reed strides up the left side. It's still Reed in behind Doherty. Does a good job of keeping him out wide. Just in case you had any doubts that we would have an incredibly tight playoff race to think about in the summer and into the fall. In the live table, with Phoenix currently beating Orange County 1-0 and Oakland currently beating Tampa Bay 1-0. Third place Phoenix Rising have 19. Ninth place San Antonio have 17. 2 points separating third and ninth in the Western Conference right now. It is anybody's guess how this will start to play out. But here's Jennings in behind Gagi. Cal Jennings is gathered by Sorrell. Read it well, confident off his line.
And we've been a bit harsh on Sorrell. There have been question marks with his ability and his confidence to come out. But there, he makes no mistake about it. He's firm in his decision, makes himself big, and forces Cal Jennings away from goal and ends up coming clean with that save. That's very well done from the goalkeeper stepping in for Paul Blanchette.
This is a fixture, obviously, that doesn't happen all that much. Hold on to that thought for 1 second. Arteaga wins it clean here, and it's cleared by Gagi. But this is a fixture, obviously, East versus West. It doesn't happen all too often. It's happened once each in the last 3 seasons. That's Oakland's first ever goal against Tampa Bay. 3-0 loss, 0-0 draw, 3-0 loss their previous 3 meetings. For the first time, Oakland on the board against Tampa Bay. And now leaping up and down at the halfway line is Dom Dwyer. He is set for his Roots debut. Part of dusting this game off in the Roots' eyes might be finding an insurance goal. If Dwyer can provide that. Still, though, the other way, Tampa Bay through Rivera, looking for that equalizing goal. Guillen carves it. And Riley gets it out of harm's way. Rodriguez. Didn't really have any support. Cedeno's second goal of the season is what has the Roots ahead. Came 5 minutes ago on the assist from Memo Diaz. His third assist of the season. Oakland's all-time appearance leader. Leo Fernandez ready to check in for Tampa Bay. Those are 2 terrific big guns that you have set to check in simultaneously now. Dom Dwyer and Leo Fernandez. Trayvon Reed latches on, out for a corner. And that ovation is to welcome Dom Dwyer to the Oakland Roots. It'll be Reed who departs. And Dom Dwyer, who has 85 goals in his MLS career, who's played 4 times for the U.S. men's national team, takes the field for the first time in an Oakland Roots kit. Did not play at all last year. And he makes his debut in front of a record Roots crowd. You know how he wants to punctuate it, and you know how these fans want him to punctuate it. We'll see if that fairy tale happens here for Oakland. More importantly, even if it comes 1-0, they'll take the 3 points. Cedeno over the top. Sub happens for Tampa Bay. Told it'll be Leo Fernandez for Lewis Hilton. See what that does to the deck for Tampa Bay. Might have to shuffle it. And Jai spins through. Dwyer wants it, and Jai goes for goal. Rebound comes out toward Dwyer, just out of his reach. And now there goes Rivera.
In fairness, I think Dwyer would have been the better option there. That's a really tough angle to try and slot something near post on a goaltender with the likes of Farr. Instead, perhaps you slot that one back to a wide open Dom Dwyer, who is itching to score at this juncture in his career.
They stuck to their guns as far as their plan for Dom Dwyer. He officially signed on April 25th. We're here on June 8th. That's about 6-7 weeks. That's about the length of a preseason. They said they wanted him to have essentially a full preseason before they unleashed him after he did not play at all in 2023. You mentioned he's itching for a goal. His last one came in that 2022 season where he was with Atlanta in MLS on July 3rd against NYCFC. So he is nearing 2 full years, 4 weeks away from the 2-year mark since his last goal. And here comes that change finally now. Hilton out, Fernandez in. Just made the announcement in stadium of that record attendance that we were privy to a bit earlier. Crowd met it with a roar. The only thing better than 6,408 in one venue for 2 games on a single day is both of those games turning out to be wins for your home side.
1 down, 1 to go.
6-2 earlier, much different scoreline here. Tampa Bay most certainly trying to spoil that party as the Roots try to spoil Tampa Bay's 3-match winning streak. Yellow card here for Dom Dwyer. Welcome back to USL Championship. Cedeno, a goal already. Cedeno goes for a goal. A frozen Farr turned to watch it sail wide. Dwyer drafted in 2012 by Sporting Kansas City, 16th overall pick. Spent 5 years with the club. Took a 1-year loan, partial season loan, I should say, in 2013 to Orlando City, now of MLS, but then of USL. And again, in that season in USL Championship, Dom Dwyer, 12 appearances, 10 starts, 13 goals, won the title with Orlando, and scored 4 in that title game. So it was a very brief in and out in USL before he would then go on to spend another 4 seasons with Kansas City, 4 more years with Orlando in MLS, a 1.5 years with Toronto, and then half a season with Atlanta before he makes his way back now to USL Championship a decade later. Rodriguez. Doherty wins it. Second half has only seen 1 shot on target for Tampa Bay. 6 efforts in all. 0.55 in the expected goals in the second half for Tampa Bay. All I have to say, they haven't really threatened Tim Sorrell much. And a goal kick is the outcome there.
That's probably been the lowest expected goals recorded for Tampa Bay, and I'd say the last 5 matches.
They're .97 collectively for the night right now for a team you mentioned earlier tonight. Averages around 2 expected goals per game. 2.5, I believe you said the number was. USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings each week. And if you've got some extra time on your hands, eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball free to play. Download now. Although with all these games and all these networks, I don't know how much extra time you have on your hands.
You definitely have to multitask. Like at least 4 screens.
4.
Okay.
That's a lot of screens.
So I feel like I thought you were about to say more, and I was
No.
like, I feel like you're speaking from personal experience.
Phone and laptop is all I could handle.
Believe me, I actually had you pegged as someone who, on certain, big time games and days where we've got, like last week and we had 72 USL broadcasts across a Saturday, you probably had like 7 screens set up. That's what I envisioned
That's
for
the dream one day.
Okay, we're not there
We're
yet,
not
but
there yet.
that
We're
is
working
you.
toward it.
I did peg you right,
We're
right?
working
Okay.
toward it. In a perfect world, someday. It's not a perfect world right now on the Tampa Bay side. Frustration starting to get to Robbie Nielsen and crew. And 3 straight victories after they had back-to-back losses against Memphis and Birmingham. 2 losses that you can't really fault them entirely for. And early red card 10 minutes in on the road against Memphis, and it unraveled from there. Tough to go 80 down a man. And then a Birmingham match where they were the better team. One of those days at the office where it's just unlucky. It's just not your day in this funny old sport. Back on the horse with 3 straight wins since then. Free kick here, won by Dom Dwyer.
It's hard as well from an emotional standpoint when you get arguably the most, and look, let me preface by saying, we are nowhere near scream territory, right? There is not one match in such a lengthy season that holds that much weight at this point. But Tampa Bay arguably coming off of the most important win of their USL Championship campaign so far, handing Sacramento their first loss of the 2024 season. It's hard to go from such a high to then trying to replicate those same emotions here.
And on the flip side, you've got an Oakland team that's coming off a loss
Right.
now against a team that has a target on its back in Tampa Bay. So 2 opposite ends of the spectrum there in terms of the psyche of it. And Jai takes it quickly. That was hopeful. That's a chase for the ball kid. It doesn't get any easier here for Oakland. Talked about this being a measuring stick game. The next one is coming on the road next week against Sacramento, and now the concern is Yesiel Cedeno, your goal scorer tonight. Just took a misstep and immediately looked over at the bench, signaled for a sub, and now he's down covering his face.
Look, that is a sight you don't want to see. I know that was only his 2nd goal of the campaign, but in many ways, as Cedeno goes, this Oakland Roots attack goes. And yes, you add a Dom Dwyer, but we've already seen just how versatile Cedeno can be. Obviously, he started this match in his normal wing position, but coming inside centrally as that support for Johnny Rodriguez, for Dom Dwyer, he's been absolutely electric in this 2nd half.
He'll be replaced by Kieran Bracken-Sarah. Niall Logue will check on as the 5th and final sub. This is some confidence in Kieran Bracken-Sarah. Debuted as a starter against San Antonio. That is his only USL Championship appearance to date. And now he's on to try and seal the deal here in the 90th minute. Camden Riley will give way for Niall Logue as that final substitution.
A very defensive-minded sub. Logue, a player who has stepped into that central back role more times than not.
Concern becomes Cedeno. Rivalry match again next week on the road for Oakland against Sacramento. Our next home match is Wednesday, June 19th at Cal State East Bay against El Paso. The Juneteenth celebration night. Limited single game tickets available. Purchase yours now before they sell out like they did tonight. To secure your tickets, visit oaklandrootssc.com/tickets or call 510-488-1144. Tampa Bay, we talk about how it doesn't get any easier here for Oakland with Sacramento next week. Tampa Bay is at home against Lou City next week, a team that has 32 points from 13 games that everybody is looking up at right now in the Eastern Conference.
That Lou City side is on somewhat of a historic run.
Slip through for Rivera, 5 minutes of stoppage time. Throw coming for the Roots. And don't forget now, about 10 or so minutes into this half, what you and I saw as the very obvious handball against Neville Hackshaw in the box that should have probably been a penalty for Tampa Bay. Missed. Could have gone up 1-0. Those are the moments in games and in seasons that you look back on.
Especially away from home.
Especially away from home after you just played Sacramento and next week you play Louisville. This one in between, that quote-unquote trap game where if you find a way, any way to get through it, you're thrilled with it. That might have been their way, that lifeline, on a night where chances have not been easy to come by. Oakland catches a break and they capitalize on it, to be fair. Could have been easy to see this through 0-0 or to end up succumbing thereafter, but they take that lifeline, they run with it, they're up 1-0, and they're 4 minutes away now from 3 points.
And they've made their substitutions to obviously be more defensive minded, going to play 4 in the back, going to look sometimes like 5 or 6, and then on the flip side, Tampa Bay, we're seeing more times than not them building out with these 2 center backs. But for Tampa Bay, the lofted ball into the likes of Neville Hackshaw, it has not been working, right? At some point, you've got to go to ground and trust the ability of your players to get in line. The 1v1 skill this Tampa Bay side possesses is there. But against an Oakland Roots side who has been committed to winning the aerial ball throughout the entirety of this match, I don't know why you continue to force that issue.
Nifty from Njai to keep it in, and now it's a throw for Oakland. Trying to rack my brain for the last time Tampa Bay found an opportunity. Was it maybe that moment where Sorrell was hesitant off his line and Jennings had a half-hearted lob toward goal? That was about 20 minutes ago now. I think. A lot has happened since then.
Tom Dwyer came on, someone scored. It's been a lot. I get it.
Well, elsewhere, Sacramento got back on the horse after last week's loss to Tampa Bay. They're about to finish off a 2-0 win on the road against Monterey Bay. It's 1-1 between Vegas and Miami. Phoenix up 1-0 at halftime at home over Orange County. And a corner on the way here for the Roots with 2 minutes left to see this over the line. Seconds remaining. Dwyer. Wiley move. Dom Dwyer.
It's going to be fun to watch him grow in this league, and I say grow just because we haven't seen him in this league.
Decade.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, anytime you come to a new club, anytime you get exposed to a new league, every club has its nuances. So there will be an adjustment period, even for the likes of a player like Dom Dwyer.
Njai weaving through. He's taken down. Penalty here for Oakland. And Njai's calling for the ball already. He sprinted to it. This will be an interesting one. Johnny Rodriguez, their normal penalty taker. Njai sprinted for the ball. Dom Dwyer's out there.
And Johnny is asking for the ball. I can see that off camera. And a clear penalty. That's extremely well done by Njai. And what a substitute he has been.
Yeah, we had a close-up of that conversation between Johnny and Njai.
He wanted
We've talked in the past with Coach Clinton. Johnny is the penalty taker. He is the designated penalty taker. So you defer to that, but Njai won it and he sprinted for it. He wanted it. He won the conversation, but now you got to make it, because now if you miss it, the conversation's an interesting one.
Gotta back it up.
Not only having to answer then to Johnny, but having to answer to Coach Gavin Glinton. It's going to be the last kick of the ball. We pretty much know that here. We're past 5 minutes. Just a matter of what the final score line will be. Looking for his first of the season against Jordan Farr. Babukar Njai off the bar. He won the argument with Rodriguez, but he misses the kick in the end. It's going to be a footnote of a victory here for Oakland, but it's something that'll spill over into the midweek, I'm sure.
Look, at the end of the day, right, no harm, no foul, because you're right, this will be the last kick of the ball, and Oakland will close this out in 3 points. But to your point, you have a guy who's always on penalties. It is his job to make penalties, and Njai pleads his case, doesn't come through with the result. And I suppose that will be a conversation for them to have after celebrating what is such a great victory.
Assuming they do, because we're a full minute past now, and Eligio Adegian has not blown the whistle yet.
I don't even think he's looked at his watch.
I wonder if anything was added because of the penalty. They were right near 95 anyway. Didn't think they would, and Gavin Glinton, bottom of your screen, is up in arms about it. He is longing for that whistle. Jordan Farr's gonna scurry now and join this attack, wave everybody forward. Last-ditch effort here for Tampa Bay. Oh, this would be something after the Roots missed penalty, but it won't matter. There's the final whistle, and the Oakland Roots have now won 3 out of 4. Tampa Bay's win streak ends at 3, and the Roots can celebrate tonight. A doubleheader victory, the sole earlier, the Roots tonight. All smiles in Oakland.
If you're Tampa Bay, I think you just have to turn the page on this one. It wasn't your night. You couldn't really ever find the rhythm, but that's a lot of credit to what Oakland is able to do. Obviously, such a tough place to play. So many fans here engaged for more than 90 minutes, a doubleheader match, and getting the results from the players on the field. What a night.
Final score brought to you by Anthem. Oakland 1, Tampa Bay nothing. We're back in a moment to wrap things up from Pioneer Stadium.
How can someone so cute be so complicated? Someone so grown up still have so much growing left to do. We know kids aren't mini adults. Their still developing bodies and minds need specialized care, including physicians and care teams who focus on treating kids and only kids, which is why from everyday to emergencies, kids belong at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals.
Eating a balanced diet and being physically active are 2 of the most important things you can do to be healthy at any age. Fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins can help control your weight and prevent heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Regular exercise can help boost your mood, digestion, and sleep. That's why Anthem Blue Cross and Oakland Roots encourage you to eat right and get active. For additional healthy tips, come visit us at oaklandrootssc.com/anthem.
6,408 in attendance for doubleheader day in Oakland, but the 2 most important numbers for the Roots are 1 and 3. 1 goal scored, 3 points earned in their victory over the Tampa Bay Rowdies. A look now at the highlights, all really coming from the second half of this one, which is where the game really picked up. And we take you through to what was a flurry of opportunities in this second half for the Roots.
And it was a silly foul here by Arteaga that led to this almost beauty wonder strike from Cedeno. But don't worry, he's going to have something else to say later on in this match. As we look to the 72nd minute, who is it? Memo Diaz pulling the shape out wide. No one goes to pressure him. And who else? Cedeno on that back post. He changes the route of his run, knowing Johnny Rodriguez has the near post on lock. He picks up the back post unmarked, and that would be the lone goal, the game winner, to give Oakland such a confidence win over these Tampa Bay Rowdies. But 90+4, the action wasn't done there. Njai, such a pivotal sub for this Oakland Roots side, takes it away from Johnny Rodriguez. The guy on penalties always for Oakland does not end up with the result, but at the end, no harm, no foul. They go on to celebrate 3 points at home.
And it's a well-earned 3 points for Oakland. It never really felt like Tampa Bay kicked it into that higher gear that we're accustomed to seeing tonight.
I agree, and I think that goes to show that Oakland's defensive structure is quite sound. What you have to point out are the shots on target, right? A couple of shots, but only 3 qualities from either side. Who was more efficient in the end? Oakland, no doubt about it.
Well, thank you for joining us this evening. Oakland Roots and Bart want to make sure you get home. Visit bart.gov/planner to plan your trip now. 2 difficult ones for these teams next week. It'll be Oakland in the NorCal Derby on the road against Sacramento. It'll be Tampa Bay back at home against Louisville City. But tonight, it is the Oakland Roots taking all 3 points home. Winners of 3 of the last 4, 1-0 over Tampa Bay. The crew that makes this possible, and my broadcast partner Marion Crowder, I'm Joe Malpa saying so long for now. Celebratory mood in Oakland tonight.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.